Okay, welcome everyone to this evening's lecture. The lecture is by Federico Aurora, and we are very happy to have you with us here. He is not just visiting for this lecture on this occasion, but he has stayed here for a while, and we are very sorry that you are now approaching the end of your stay, because one of the benefits of having Federico here is that we have been able to have a weekly reading group, reading Pausanias together. Now we will continue to meet and read Pausanias, and we will make weekly sacrifices in your honor. But apart from that, it has been lovely to have you here, and come back soon. Federico is going back to his job in Oslo, where he is a subject specialist in the area of Greek, Latin and linguistics at the University Library of Oslo. He is also affiliated with the Department of Philosophy, History of Ideas, Classics and
History of Art.
History of Art.
The very long name always.
Yes, it's and his main presentation tonight will be on the database that he is working on, which is called Damos. So please.
Good. So, of course, I also would like to thank the Norwegian Institute. It's been very nice to have an academic home in Athens for a year. I hope people can still have that home in the years to come. Hope very much. Okay, so tonight I'm presenting the new version of the database of Mycenaean at Oslo, which is a collaboration, as was mentioned in some way by Jurgen, between the University of Oslo Library and the Department of Philosophy, Classics, History of Arts and Ideas at the University of Oslo. So they are both financing this. And for the IT part is directly the Faculty of Humanities at the University of Oslo, which is taking care of the IT part, and especially Asgeir Nessøen and Damir Nedic. I need to mention them because they've been doing really a big part of the job. And then Heidi Løken was also part of it, and now she's changed section. Then I have to mention Andrea Bersi, which is a personal friend of mine, which did quite a good job in quite a big part of the work in fixing the text layout. I will tell maybe a bit more about this later on. And without him, we would have very scrambled Mycenaean text. So I really need to mention him. So just to remind you what the Mycenaean text is, in case anybody needed this reminder. Just two words for not necessarily everybody knows Damos, the database, of which we are now presenting the new version. So the idea with Damos is having a always updated digital corpus of all the Mycenaean texts, of all the published Mycenaean texts. Digital, which then means also searchable in various ways, as we will see, and annotated. Annotated means annotated with metadata of the tablet and of each word and syllable and so on. And it means also very important for me, which is actually the part which we will not see anything of now because I haven't finished yet. And I've been saying this for many years that I haven't finished yet. Is the linguistic annotation. That means that at the end, the database each word will have a grammatical annotation. That means you could be able to look for a dative in Mycenaean, or forms which might be interpreted as dative, which is the tricky part with Mycenaean. When I'm entering the linguistic annotation, of which I'm not going to talk anymore after this, I'm also entering multiple possibilities, which what makes it a bit complicated. So one would be able to look for possible datives, possible ablatives, if we have ablative and instrumental, and so on. So the texts are in this form in the database, which is the what we mostly work with, which is the transliteration, the standard transliteration of Mycenaean text from Linear B into Latin characters, more or less. Yeah. So 2 words about, and they look like this. This is the old, current until today version of Damos. That's how it looks like, the text there. So what we have been doing is that we've taken text from current editions and then put them into a computer and then built a relational database, for those who are interested into this or understand a bit of this, a relational database where each element of the text has been taken and put into a table and given attributes. So we decompose the text. So each line has been each text and given metadata. Each line has been taken and given metadata. Each word taken and given metadata, and so on until syllable. And this is what allows us to present the second version, because we will show more. We will allow users to look for more features, which we have been extracting while doing this job. It was a quite time-consuming job to make the database to start with, and I have to mention, I forgot to put the slide, but I will show later on. I have to mention the Titus project in Frankfurt, which gave us at the beginning, let's say 90% of the Mycenaean text in digital format. That means in Word format, Microsoft Word format, which was a very big help to start with. But of course we had to do pretty much work on those. I say we, but actually I had, because we are very few. One of the problems with the project is that it's me and the people I mentioned, which do the IT mostly. So I had to, bearbeta them, to work with them in such a way to make them unambiguous, so that the computer could read, and when importing this data, could automatically know that if 3 capital letters isolated by 2 blank spaces are being entered, that means give attribute logogram. So that's how we've done the things. So I had to make the text unambiguous and machine readable. So that's what we did at the beginning, and it was very good to get this digital data. And then I was talking with somebody before that, in case you produce edition, scholarship about Mycenaean, that would be very nice if you also produce it in digital form, and then if you want to contribute to the corpus, and having them in digital form is much easier for me to enter them. Like when it comes, for example, to the new text from Thebes, well, new in the 90s or so, I had to digit them all. Plus, now I don't want, scanners, also because these texts were scanned, the scanners don't like the dots under the letters. But we like them because we need them to say that it's an uncertain reading, of a certain sign. So I had to enter manually like 10,000 dots or something like this. So it was quite a big job. Okay, so this was the so the idea with Damos is that it is a always updated corpus, which is online and searchable, and it's thought, of course, as a searching resource, not very much as a reference. Of course, this is not an edition; it's not substituting any editions. I mean, it's needless to say, but just to make clear. So, of course, one always has to go back to editions to double check, but 99% of the data correspond to the editions. But so the idea of Damos is this, and so that's why we have like a browse. So the main 2 functions are the browsing part and the searching, like searching for words. I was talking about updating, always being updated. So that's part of what I'm doing, is constantly updating with new data, which doesn't need always new editions like the Knossos tablets, or a new transliteration, new edition in transliteration only, not a corpus, which came out this year, and then which is already included now in Damos. It's updated already, There might be some very small mismatches, like a comma missing or something, but I'm going through the tablets while annotating them linguistically, so at the end this is also going to be fixed. And then I introduce new findings which are reported in the quinquennial reports about the finds, which are presented at the Mycenaeological colloquia. And then in this case, like also a new edition of a supplement of the vases came out, and I've included, that's 95% included now. I have to just fix some things. And also, if a new handbook, for example, comes out, I'm including the bibliographic references to the documents. I will talk a bit more about this. Okay. So this is how the old search was. I'm going slowly now to the new, which is going to be the core. So the old search function was quite simple. You could choose look for words. You could look from end, beginning. We actually allowed to use regular expressions. I don't know if anybody of you, if you use Damos, ever used regular expressions. That's very useful, and it's still allowed in the new version, but you need to know a bit how to build them. That's what, in other words, can be called wildcards. Okay, and then so the idea also is that you can open your tablets in small windows, and then you can keep them on for almost as like really virtual tablets that you can compare. All this is also possible in the new version. This is I just wanted to show you the big amount of metadata which is into the database. This is the structure of the database, and this is simply just half of the structure is about physical data, epigraphical metadata, and so on, and half of it is about linguistics. So what we've been making available now, almost in its entirety, most of it is this part with the second version. Then we can skip this. So I think I'm now just going over to the demonstration. I just want to mention that for those which are not super familiar maybe with Mycenaean, is that this kind of, when we're going to see afterwards what you can look for, kind of metadata regard also the kind of word. No, so we've seen in examples from the Mycenaean text that you can see for. I know that not everybody has been working with Mycenaean here, so you can have some. I mean, you see words are different format. It's because they represent different kind of words. Let's say Mycenaean, they can be syllabic words, which I call common words in database. So that something that more or less based is like a syllabic rendering of the phonology. And then we can have abbreviations, logograms, and different kind of logograms. All these kind of things are now available for searches, and I will show that in a second. And for the new searches are possible only for words and not for syllable level yet. That will be in the future, even though many of the features which are on the syllable level have been transferred to words. So you can look for words containing uncertain readings, partially or not. I show you now. So I think I just mentioned one thing, and then I go over to the demonstration of the new interface. This is not completely new, but I enhanced it in a new version. I entered links to all the other, I would say all, probably, to at least the most important other existing resources, databases about Mycenaean text or containing also Mycenaean text, like the database of the Deutsche Archäologische Institut, Arachne, where we can find the pictures and metadata about both the seals and the seal impressions. And then maybe the most interesting novelty, picture-wise, there's a link to the Pylos tablets in Calibra, the database with the Cincinnati pictures that they have in Cambridge. And also to La Sapienza's data, sorry, it's not La Sapienza, to the CNR, the Consiglio Nazionale delle Ricerche, the National Research Council of Italy's database, which contains text and pictures and metadata about the tablets from Midea, Mycenaean, and Tiris. So now, when you look at the picture at the post in Damos, you can click on a link and enter their website. Okay, so I think it's enough for the almost theoretical part, and I can show you the new interface. It looks like this. I'm responsible for the poor drawing of Damo. All my designer friends, they say I will do it for you, but they never do it, so I do it myself, unfortunately. So let's start first with compare with the old database. There's more metadata that one can look for. Of course, you can choose tab, and crucially, one big difference with the old database is that in the old database you could not look for choose as a subcorpus to browse or to search within the tablets from Knossos and Pius. You had to choose either or. Now you can add them. I remember that I showed what I wanted to the IT people by using like a very big commercial site. I don't remember selling very, but that's a bit the same. So you can add products. So if you click on this, then you're gonna browse only through the tab. Okay, let's not take Knossos, it's a bit too big. Let's banal. Let's take. So if you click on Thebes and Mycenaean, then you have a subcorpus of the tablets from Thebes and Mycenaean that you can just browse through. What you get is, as in the old version, some notes. In the old version, you might remember if you've used it that the notes were there was login for different reasons. Fortunately, we were able to get rid of the login, so everything is completely open access now. And then you get a good amount of metadata and a basic tablet bibliography. What I call basic tablet bibliography is, I would say, more, it's not necessarily for the specialist about this text, because most of the works quoted are anthologies. So let's say students, for example, you get references to where in an anthology, in the main anthologies which are published, this tablet is addressed. That's where I inserted the data from Maurizio Del Freos and Massimo Perna's new manuale, handbook of Mycenaean philology. There's more metadata shown than in the previews. I hope did you see a bit? It's a bit blurred maybe, but can you read?
Yes.
Yes, good. It's blurred from here. So there's more metadata than they were previously shown, and almost all these metadata are also searchable for in these two filters. The ones which are not searchable for, I will say, is a context, the archaeological context, if the tablet is preserved or not, even though I show you a trick to look for it anyway, and Trismegistos. Context, the data about context, I'm not completely super, how do you say, confident with them to put them in the filter, but most of them are according to publications. And I think it's important to have them anyway, so you can check if a proposed chronology, not by me, but my chronologies are some kind of, I put together all the what's being proposed, and I try to reconcile them. And when there's no possibility, just put the different options. So, but you can see if a proposed chronology is based or not, which relationship it has with the context, which I think is important. And if you match this information with seeing if a tablet is attributed to a hand or not, and if it comes from a defined area or not, you can get an idea if on how well-rounded this chronology is. No, for example, a chronology very different from the context. I'm not an archaeologist, so I hope I'm not saying strange things, but a chronology very different from the context needs an explanation, which is probably stylistic in the case of vases and so on. Trismegistos is empty at the moment, but I hope to. We talk with Mark de Pau, which is the father of Trismegistos, about giving Mycenaean text a unique number, as they've done for papyri and they've done for, well, mostly for papyri. They're trying to do also with epigraphs. Yeah? So Trismegistos is this website which wants to be, is aiming at giving a unique number to each document from antiquity. So the same we're gonna do with Mycenaean text. We just need to. There's not so much work to do. Actually, what I was waiting for is to have stable, what's it called, permanent links to the tablets, so that they don't change in time, to send to them. So then here you could have a link to the post of the Mycenaean document in Trismegistos. This is it. This is what I wanted to say about metadata. So let's go back to the metadata, but that you can search through, which are more or less the same. So you can cross all this metadata. So you can cross, you can decide to see, you want to see the tablets from Thebes and Mycenae, and you want to, you see small numbers, so you get the, I don't know if you can see them very well, but let's say of these tablets which we have selected, 13 have been attributed to late Helladic 382. So you can decide to look only at this subcorpus. And when I say look to, I mean both browsing, like here, or doing a word search, which we will see later on. Here you can see, since we're looking at tablets from Mycenae, you can see a link to Liber, the database based in Rome. So if you open it, you can, both for Liber and Calibra, you need to log in, but it's a free login in. So once you have the password, you enter it, and then for all your session and more, actually the whole day it's been on for me. So you can just automatically, and then, and of course you can also have, if you just, now I don't want to tell you how you have to use your browser, but you can of course, if you extract one picture, one window, you can have the Mycenaean text and the picture here with the pop-up window. I'm actually trying to convince my IT people to make it automatic, so the browser automatically makes a small pop-up window here. It's more quick, so that you can look at text and image for what we have. Okay, there's also links to the few tablets which are the British Museum, which have pictures. The Ashmolean Museum have removed them from the address is gone. They're nowhere. Not the tablets, of course. They have removed the images. Okay, so you can look for sites. This is the list of documents. As before, you can look for different hands, stylus. In the case for the sites where stylus have been defined, series, subseries, set. An interesting, now I will reset, because an interesting feature, I think also, that we made seals available for searches. So if you're interested in Aegean seals, you can look for tablets which contain the seal CMS 163. And then here in the text we have both the link to the image of this document, and here in the text the link, this is not new, it was also in old Damos, the link to the seal impression, which are two different posts, of course, in Arachne. So this is when it comes to this column, you can also, because there's many Mycenaean tablets, as we know, so like 5,800 circa. So if you're looking just for one document, you can just type it in there. it's a bit faster than the older version. So if you're looking for, I don't know, you can see also which tablet starts for 1,400 and so on. So you can go directly there. An important thing which has been kept from previously from Damos, and you don't realize it when I tell, but as soon as you use the database, you see that you need to be able to click on a tablet with whatever tablet you want and go and navigate to the tablet. The document, which is possible. While instead, if you choose this, you choose to look at only the tablet. So you can, by choosing tablets, you can make subgroups of individual tablets. Let's say you want to look for whatever reason to 3 tablets from Knossos, 3 from Thebes, 3 because they have some features that are interesting for you. Maybe not 3, but let's say 20 from this and 20 from this, and they don't belong to a series or anything. You can just pick up. You can just pick your different tablets by clicking on this small, what's it called? Squares. Thank you. So this is one thing. If you remember, if you use the old database, there was the possibility to look for joins, so tablets which had earlier joined. I removed this thing because everything is in this. I had this thing, of course. It's in this column. Everything is integrated there. So if you're looking for as you can see an example here, if you're looking for tablet 31, you will match tablet 31, which is signalized as being joined. If I can do this, I don't know if, no, yeah, because then we go back to some. It's a bigger. So there's a exclamation mark in front of joined tablets, and there's an information say that in this case Knossos 31, which has changed its number. Which was previously called 5,797, is now being joined to Knossos 1. So you can find all tablets which have changed their own name. And if you're particularly interested in this, there are some tricks, for example, to look for joined tablets. If you do this, you'll find all joined tablets. If you type these 2 signs. And if you type this sign in this way, you'll find all missing tablets, so lost tablets, which we have in the corpus, but they're gone from the museums. If you type this, you will have, I don't know if one needs to be particularly interested in these things, but it can be useful sometimes. You can find all the joined tablets which have changed their name in the course of time. And of course, if you look for this, if you type this, you find all tablets which are not in the corpus with their own, which have been joined or have changed name. So I think this is quite useful it's a very compact concordance. So we added a new line of, a new set of metadata, which is chronological and spatial data, which you can cross with the other data, and that's what I was talking about before. Chronology. I agree it's not particularly elegant right now, but I will try to fix a bit the proportions. Here are find areas, starting with the prefix of the site and all the areas. The data come from archaeology, from editions or reports. Particularly interesting, I would say, of course, is the data from Knossos. And I integrated the revised find places, which were published by Melena and Firth, and now they are included in KT6. So the find places of Knossos are updated. Also, the find places of Pylos are updated as much as they can. That means that I integrated the find places the revised Find Places from the archive rooms, also revised by Richard Firth. Which were published in Minos. No, they were published in the colloquium, in the last colloquium, the Aegean script, if I'm not wrong. Yes, the Knossos find spots were published in Minos, and in the last publication that I showed before from the colloquium in Copenhagen. There's the find places from Pylos. For Pylos, at least at the moment only for Pylos, I divided the find place into find area and find spot. So this group of tablets, these 5 tablets, they are from room 2 in Pylos, and they are found in the find spot 2. Further, now I need to reset a bit. Further, we introduced provenance for provenance data for the vases, based on the editions, but mostly based on the article from 2011 from, I mean, the book chapter from John Killian about the provenance of the vases. So you can look for, and the terminology is the same used there. I also included the differentiation between West Crete alpha and West Crete beta. But of course, if you want, you can look for both alpha and beta at the same time, and then you will have a subcorpus of vases probably produced in West Crete. This 103. Then something which is maybe more useful for museums, I thought also the find year of the tablet, not the edition year, not the publication year, but the find year, for what we know, the location, which museum, and then inventory numbers, the ones which I got mostly from publications. And if I can get more, I'd be happy, and I hope it can be this can be useful also for museums to use this for internal use. So these are the metadata that we added, and that are all searchable for and all crossable. You see these strange flags. This is a technical thing that means that if they are chosen, if they're blue, you're seeing only the tablets which are available to you in the subcorpus. If you click here, you also see the tablets which you don't have in the subcorpus. If for some reason you want to look at them, you can't add them from here. I mean, you will just find this doesn't change anything. The system gets a bit strange, but you cannot add them. The subcorpus remains the same. You just get a bit of disappearing thing which you shouldn't get. But the only column where you can add things, which is an exception, is this. So you can also in this idea of picking the tablets that you want. So you can choose a subcorpus and add some tablets. You want to look at all the tablets from Thebes, plus these chosen ones. You can do that. So you, after a while of choosing options, one gets a bit confused. I reset. Can be a bit slow, but there's a lot of data, and it's not only the data; it's also the graphic information, which makes it more user-friendly. Because in the tools that I have to look at the database on my computer, things are much faster, but that's what the price you pay for the interface. Okay, so yes, so let's say you want to look at the tablets from Thebes. I don't know, I'm always talking about Thebes today, but you also want to include other tablets. So then you click here, and you get a list of all tablets, and you want to include Knossos 67 for some reason. You include it. It's gonna be in your subcorpus, so you can search in the corpus or browse through. Let's now look at well, I just want to mention that the notes can be a bit strange. They have strange signs. These are signs which are useful for me, and maybe in the future also not only for me. They are taggings. I'm tagging the notes so that maybe in the future they're also retrievable. So notes about readings, notes about chronology. And these are tags and abbreviations that I use in the notes. It's more not to, I mean, if you read that, at least you think that they are less strange than they seem. I'm not sure it's so very useful for you, but sometimes there's some information lying in the character. As here is the let's say the legenda of the basic tablet bibliography. Okay. Of course, in the old Damos, you can always open the tablet in a new window, which allows you then to do this what I was talking about before, having like small tablets in a bit more user-friendly format than well, almost. There was something wrong here, but in a bit more user-friendly format than having the whole web page of the searching page. So then we have major novelty in the word search. First, as you can see, you can look for words or co-occurrences of words. So you can look for words occurring in the same text or in the same line. I prepare some examples. You can also see them here. Yeah. For example, if you're a linguist, you might want to look for the word paro co-occurring with the ending or word with ending in C, SI. Now let's hope it works, because we have some problems with the when the data are I reset because maybe I chose the national code. We are a bit deciding what to do with the how much time to allow the searches to run for, because I mean, in theory it's possible to look for any word in Mycenaean. You just go to word search, don't choose any subcorpus, and click on search. We will get a connection timeout now, hopefully. Probably, unless they fix something miraculously. But we are thinking if to allow this possibility actually to look for all the words which are in no, you see. But it's because it would require more time, and we are thinking it might be actually useful for people working with Mycenaean to get all the words in from one side. So we are trying to see if we can manage to do this. So if you get a connection timeout, it means there's too many data, and as the little windows say, you have to narrow your choice. So let me try again with paro and see. Should work. Not here, but in multiple words. So you can add up to 5 words, and you can choose the context for their co-occurrence within one line or within one text. So for linguistic purposes, maybe it might be more interesting within one line, but you want to just maybe know if that logogram and that logogram co-occur in the same tablet, or that word or that. Yeah. So see, from end, shouldn't be any mistake now. Exact paro with one line search. Yeah. So you have these are the tablets where you have paro and a word ending with C. And in the results you get the line, the document, and the well, you can also, if you have lots of results, you can just quickly go through. This was also in the old interface. You can go through the text a bit quickly. You can also print them, download them.
So is the $sign scribe?
Sorry?
The $sign? Does that mean scribe?
The $sign, yeah, I should say this. It's a stylus.
Oh, stylus.
Stylus. The scribe is in brackets. Scribe is in brackets. Mostly everything that I'm saying now, it's either in the About Damos or in the How to Search, or will be there soon. It's something I haven't managed to write, and sometimes I forget that people don't know all the conventions that I have in my mind. Yeah. So this is a new possibility. You can look for co-occurrences of words. So you can look, for example, also for you want to see if the priest and the priestess are together in any tablet. In which ones? So we can look within one text and see tablets where priests, and it's actually one tablet, and these are the 3 lines where one of the words occur. I would very much like to show you also the possibility to choose the kind of, the grade of proximity. So within, I don't know if, for example, familiar with the TLG, for example, Thesaurus Lingua Graeca, you can look for a word close to another one within a certain amount of words. And we have the option, but it's not working today. I hope it's going to be working within maybe a couple of weeks or something. They're working with that. So you're going to be able also to look for, and this is also interesting for linguists, let's say, words occurring close to each other. Keep in mind that there's lots of word dividers, comma. So most words are going to be within 2 words. The ideal would be to be able to switch between including or not commas, but it's, generally for all these things are very easy to be done in the database in the tools that I use. But every time something has to be implemented online, it needs lots of IT work lots of coding of bringing this, creating the interface and making the interface talk with the database. That's what makes things slow. These informations that we are making available now, not all of them, but most of them were available 5 years ago. Except maybe provenance and except a bit better chronology, but many of them, they were available, but I could not make them available because of interface problems, which boils down to financial problems, because you need to have fundings from the institute that can pay the faculty that then will give back this money to the institute, this academic game. Okay. I wanted to, so within each of these word search or multiple word search, you also have advanced search options, which are quite many. So you can choose to look for one of the kind of Mycenaean words that that exist, in which we can divide. So you can look for the different kind of logograms. Let's say you want to see, like a bit silly example, very simple. How many tablets have a graffito? So, sorry, now I went on the wrong search. So, these ones. Again, you can decide to, for example, you can do, let's say, something more meaningful. You choose the tablets from the Room of the Chariot tablets, which are thought to be the oldest in Knossos. You choose the area, and then you say that you want to see all common words. Common words is my terminology to see syllabic word, not ideogram, not logograms, not measured units, and so on. And then you can get, if things go as they should, a list of all the syllabic words from the Room of the Chariot tablet. Yes, we got there. And then here you get the results, numbers, you get the number of documents, the number of types, which is, so I here distinguishing the results between types and tokens. It's intuitive, but a token is a form that the type takes. In this case, it can be the word korvos in Mycenaean, boy. It can be preserved intact, or it can be preserved with some damage, some parts reconstructed. One is, let's say the sign ko is of uncertain reading. This is going to be one token. So if you're looking for normalized form, if you search in normalized form, you look for types. If you don't select normalized form, you're gonna be searching for tokens. This is, of course, free text or exact is intuitive from end from start. Regular expression, I have a link on the how to search to how to use regular expressions. Regular expression is a bit more technical term to what, as I said before, are wildcards. For example, in a library catalog search, to truncate. Can you say truncate in English? Yes. To truncate a word or something. They can be very useful if you want to look for a word that might contain, the same word ending either in a or in e, something like this. So you can do this with wildcards. Banally, you can. If I don't make a mistake now, you can do this. And we should be looking for boys and girls, boys or girls. Are we in word search? Yes. Yes. So you find both boys and girls. Korvo, korva. And you can make complicated regular expressions. If you learn them, you can go to the website where I link to. Okay, let's go back to the options. So you can look for word type. And I think this is quite relevant. You can look for words which are damaged or not, which have a damage at left. A damage. Let me go back to. I always use ko and kova for my examples. So as you know, when I say damage, it means that there might be a damage on the left. This sign, there's some break there. Probably there's no other sign. Probably the word is complete, but we're not completely sure. There's a little break. So if you want, for some reason, to include or exclude damage at left, you can do that. Same with damage at right. Damage internal is very rare, but you can do that. And if you want to look at words which are, now we can do the reset generally, because when we look at very special cases, we don't need to have a subcorpus. The data is quite small. I didn't say that, but of course, if you have any questions, just interrupt me as you justly did. Research. So you can decide to, like, a word with an internal damage looks like this. Now, words which we are quite sure are together, but there's a hole in them, and there's no reconstruction which have been done. So people have not reconstructed what's in the hole, but they're together. The same goes. The same goes for reconstructed or not reconstructed. So sometimes when you count words, you can count, let's say, how many, just to keep the korva, how many girls there are, how many boys, and you will get included in the count words which have been reconstructed into a gap. Probably here the scribe put this sentence because there's a formula, and then so in other tablets there is that, so probably there was also this, but we're not completely sure. So let's say and especially if you want to look at them physically, you're not going to find them. So let's say you want to look at certain tablets which contain this, you can decide to not include either partly reconstructed or entirely reconstructed. And to keep doing this, you can say, I don't want uncertain readings. The difference between partly uncertain readings is not that the readings are partly uncertain. We fortunately don't have a sign for that also. But it's that, let's say, ko-wo, the ko syllable is of uncertain reading. The wo is not. This is a partly uncertain reading. Word. So you can include them because, or let's say you want only safe things. I want certain readings, non-reconstructed and non-erased, because sometimes we have some words which are preserved physically, but we see they were erased. So I want only things which we are completely sure they exist in a certain way. So you can look for that, and then again, our friend Kogo. So you can, of course, they also exist if they have a damage, but let's say I don't even want no damage. So in this case, you can look for only completely safe words. You're sure they're read in that way, they're for sure no damage, and so on. So you can imagine, you can cross all these possibilities to do your searches. And these possibilities, all these things, they are possible for both multiple word search and word search. There are some more, let's say, spatial also features. You can look for superscripts. I mean, things which are written above. It happens, now we are still looking in the room of the cherry tablets, which we don't need to, sorry, just, sometimes you need to reset because you don't remember anymore what you've chosen. So in the advanced options, you can then, so if you want to know what was the habit of, I mean, things which are written over because they had forgotten or something. So you get everything which is, as you can see here, sorry, this is another feature, you cannot enlarge the column when you're at this point, and I have to fix that because it's very boring to have to go back to that. So here number 4 has been written above. Here vir and well, you can of course order the things for document, for hand, for line. You might notice there are 2 important things missing, which we have to introduce, I think, to make more sense of looking at data when you've got big results, and is chronology and find place, because it's useful for you to order your data by chronology and find place. But you can already order them by this was not possible in the previous one. You could not order your data in a different way. I was saying you can also download them as a comma separated values document and then make your own database. We'll see how well this works because we have to. But I try to download, so it's actually it's not a Microsoft Excel sheet, but compatible with that. And of course here we get a lot of maybe uninteresting things. Maybe we only want to look at common words and all the logograms. I asked the IT people if we could do something which could include all the logograms, but at the moment no. So I had to click on them. So in this way we're looking to all the logograms and words which have been written above, either because of forgotten or for some reason, which are indicated in the Mycenaean convention with these 2 hyphens, or it's called how is this called in English? The apostrophes, 2 high apostrophes or something, no? So you can look for them, or you can look for underscript, which are much less frequent, and they are actually, it's the case of the nodules. So there's a word on one side and then a bit of the word on the other face. So you can look for that also. Another thing you can look for is suprasigillum. That means which words are written on a seal. Not many, as we can see soon. Now actually I select all. So we have nine things, nine words, logograms, which have, so you can have, this is a list of all the logograms which occur over a seal. Another feature, it's some things are very seldom, like, I don't know if any of you remembers of any edition which has a word containing omitted signs which have been restored by modern scholars. There are not so many, but you can see them all by clicking here. So these are the 3 examples that we have so far. Other things have been proposed, but they are in the notes, while these are in the text of the editions. The last feature is the size, which is a bit more tricky. So for Knossos, and I don't remember now the other, I mean, I know that Pylos not, but for Knossos, if a word is written bigger or smaller, is indicated by 2 slashes or 1 slash. You can look for these things, not looking for the slash, but looking for the size of the word. If you look for +1, now let's choose not to make it too big. Yeah, we need to do Knossos, but A series. So you can look for words which in the A series there don't exist. Yes, because there's no word containing omitted signs. So in the A series, only kowo again in one of the it's written bigger than the other ones. So it's preceded by this sign. So and you can combine these, so you can have a word which is bigger or written smaller. There's many more which are indicated as having been written smaller. Actually, we should select only common words because otherwise we get a lot of commas or word dividers. Yes, they are. So here you see a list of words which are written smaller than apehasa. So you have apehasa, and then everything that comes after is written smaller. So all of them have this feature. And you can combine, now I will not go on this, but you can combine the size of the word itself with the size of the previous one, if it's smaller, bigger, etc. This of course holds for the editions where we have this indication, like in Knossos. In Pylos we do have the indication, but it's done by using a different, in a different way. It's a use of the lines, so how the line is indicated. I mean, which leads me to this, because you can look also for type of lines. So if you want to see all the words which are in an unruled line, in a ruled line, and so on, you can choose this as a restraining factor. Okay, I think that I gave you lots of information, and maybe could be enough. I don't know, I have some more examples, but of things that you can look for, but I think I maybe gave you, I don't want to bore you too much with this data. So I don't know if you have any questions.
I think first of all we'll just give you an applause, so thank you for presenting this.